Remember, remember the 5th of November. Even this film could not escape Berryman's nitpicking. V for Vendetta is a 2005 political action film directed by James McTeigue, based on the 1988 DC Vertigo Comics limited series of the same name by Alan Moore and David Lloyd. The film is set in an alternative future where a totalitarian regime has subjugated the United Kingdom. The film centres on V, a masked freedom fighter who attempts to ignite a revolution through elaborate terrorist acts, while Evey, a young working class woman caught up in V's mission and a detective trying to stop V. When the film was released, it did actually get quite good reviews and did quite well at the box office, but there is a lot of issues with this film. So that's what we're going to talk about today. 10 things that can make V for Vendetta better. Number 10. Accents. Right, this really annoys the hell out of me on this one. I am English. Do I have a posh English accent? Does most of the people in England talk with a posh England accent? No! So why the hell are most of the working class talking with posh English accents, having cups of tea? No. Us, English, UK, British, we don't talk like that. Ever. Stop doing that in films, America. Number 9. Inspiring Anonymous. Yeah, this film actually inspired a real-life cyber activist group called Anonymous. I'm hoping they're never going to target me. I'm a nobody on YouTube, so please leave me alone. But yeah, when a film inspires a real-life terrorist group, it's not, or activist group should I say, it's not a good thing. Unfortunately, the director actually takes pride that he's inspired this group as well, which sends the wrong sort of message. Was this the sort of thing you were after when you were making this film? Trying to actually make some political change. Not a good image for a film to have, I'm afraid. Number 8. Real life political issues. Yeah, this film has actually had some real life political issues as well. So much so, this film was actually talked about in the House of Commons as well. The reason being is no film has ever shut down around the Houses of Parliament until this film. And they were allowed to shut down every night around the Houses of Parliament. How? No one's ever done it since. This is the only film that's ever had it done because the security risk is too high. I mean, there was tons of security about it, but why? Now, the rumour mill goes, Tony Blair, the current or the then Prime Minister's son, was working on this film, and that's how come they were allowed to do it. It was so much of a scandal, they were talking about it in the House of Commons, why this film was allowed to shut down all the roads around the House of Parliament. They shouldn't have been allowed to do it, and yet it was a real life scandal. Why? Doesn't give this film a good starting point, really. Number 7. Changing cast. So V was played by Hugo Weaving and he was fantastic as the role. But he wasn't the original cast. He was actually supposed to be played by James McTeigue. There are a couple of scenes where James is still in and Hugo Weaving's just dubbed over the acting. But why did he leave? Well, the most common reason is he didn't like wearing the mask all the time. That's the most common I understand. However, there has been reports this wasn't the case. There was more to it as well. Now, when a film changes its lead halfway through filming, it does raise some alarm bells as well. So what really went on? No one will ever know. It's the same as the Ninth Doctor leaving the Doctor Who series. No one will know the exact real reason. It's just down to conspiracy theories and rumours. And that's the same thing that's happened with this film as well. Number 6. Wrong themes. When Alan Moore wrote the original comic, the story was supposed to be about anarchy versus fascism. That's what the film is supposed to be about. That's the theme of the film. But in his words, this was about current American neoconservatism versus current American neoliberalism. That's how he describes it. I didn't quite get the anarchy. He was more after revolutionary, trying to change for the people. The comic book, V, was actually just after anarchy, pure and simple, not the same thing that we got in this film. So Alan Moore has got a point that the film was going after the wrong thing, really. Number 5, wrong English breakfast. Now, if you're English, the one thing you love being English is a good old English breakfast. Most people go down to the local Wetherspoons and have an English breakfast. Oh, can't beat it. So what do everyone cook in this film? Do they cook a full English breakfast with bacon, sausages, scrambled egg? I'm making myself hungry. No, we get egg in a basket. Now, I will be honest, I watched this and think, oh, I wouldn't mind actually trying that. And if you don't know what it is, it's basically fried bread with a fried egg in the middle. That's what it is. But that's an American breakfast. You don't really have that over here in the UK. Closest we get is eggy bread, where you actually whisk an egg up, stick bread in it, fry that, or you fry the bread on its own to make fried bread. But I've never in my life seen it. I do want to try it, but it's not a British thing, I'm afraid. Number 4, eating with hands. Now, I don't actually have an issue with people eating with their hands. You eat pizza with your hands. I just think eating a pizza with knife and forks is just plain wrong. But the issue here is twice she has made this eggs and basket, whatever you want to call it, which is fried. The whole thing is fried, so it's going to be really hot. So just after it's cooked, what does she do? She picks it up with her hands and eats it. Really? So it'll be scalding hot. You would not be able to pick it up. You would have to eat that using a knife and fork and be all proper and British. You can't have a posh accent and then eat like a commoner. Doesn't work that way. Number 3, falling. So when Evey is trying to escape from a house that she's about to be arrested from, she escapes through the window. And yet when she falls one way and lands the other way. She lands on her back when she should have actually landed on her front. She sort of twisted just as she landed. It didn't really make sense. Big film flaw, boo-boo on that one. Number 2, toning down V. Yeah, so in the comics, V is a complete and utter anarchist, and he is a bad guy throughout. You don't feel any remorse or anything, and you just want him to be caught and killed. Even in the comics, his treatment of Evey is horrific. Yet in this film, he's more of a sympathetic character who wants to bring change for the better of the people. That's not what he is in the comics. You've changed the main focus of V from the comics to the film. You couldn't have done that. You couldn't have actually done that very well with, say, Joker. Oh, they did. Oh, ignore me then. Number 1, everyone should have died. So at the end of this film, everyone's around the Houses of Parliament watching it blow up. Big Ben blows up. And then they would have all got killed. No, seriously. If Big Ben blows up, everyone around Big Ben would die because the amount of debris, I mean, let's face it, it's made out of gold leaf. That stuff is heavy. Big Ben is heavy. It would have destroyed everything around the Houses of Parliament as well. So all these people that stood there watching it blow up would have all been killed. At least put them on the other side of the river. They would have been safe there, but no. Everyone would have died. All the bad guys, all the protesters would have died. End of. Final thoughts. So, what did I actually think of this film? Well, bizarrely enough, it is actually an enjoyable, fun film that is a lot of relevance to today of how much governments can control things, even through the power of media. I mean, we all know what YouTube do to people, everyone, all of all these flat earthers, and I won't get into that, but the government controlling media, the government controlling everything, the government manipulating things for their advantage. These are all conspiracy theories that even in today's world, 15 years after this film came out, are still around. Do the government do this? I don't know. I'm not saying they do, I'm not saying they don't, but it's a very believable thing. We actually have a character you can get behind you can actually understand that one person can make a difference in today's world. We just don't have anyone willing enough to stand up, unless you count Piers Morgan. Yeah, but it was a good, fun action film. The fight sequences were amazing. You actually fully got behind Evey and her brain, how she was brainwashed. And yeah, I can't really flaw this film that much, really. It is an enjoyable film. The biggest issues are a lot behind the scenes rather than the film itself. But yeah, it was a good film. So I'm not going to say much more about that. It's a film that does have a lot of relevance today. So, what am I going to rank it? I'm going to give it an 8. 8 out of 10 berries is what I'm going to give it. Because it is a fun, action-packed film. Just a lot of behind-the-scenes issues. But that's my opinion. What did you think? What would you rank it out of 10? Would you give it a high score? Would you give it a low score? Did you enjoy the film, most importantly? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to get in touch with me, I'm on social networking. Just search for @Berryman81, or there are links in the description below. And what am I going to do next week? Do you know what? We've had a run of a few weeks of some depressing films. So let's have some fun. Let's go and have a look at another Disney remake, because they're always popular. In fact, they're my most popular film reviews that I do. So let's go and watch one of those, shall we? Which one am I doing? Take a guess in the comments. First correct one I will pin the answer to. But until then, I will see you next Sunday. Bye bye.